You're watching Telecom TV from the MEF annual members meeting in Boston. I'm joined now by Michael Kearns, who is VP of Fixed Network Single OSS with Huawei. Michael, thanks for joining us on Telecom TV.
Thank you very much, Guy. Good to talk to you.
What do you see as the most significant developments that are going to shape the networking landscape over the next year or so?
We see the digital services that are emerging from the ICT transformation as the major factor that will influence the networking landscape going forward. So the networking priorities and roadmap will actually evolve to support those digital services. That's the critical point. And within that, we see that orchestration of the network is critical. And that orchestration must be able to unlock the potential of the ICT transformation. So it must be able to exploit the virtualization in the network, the virtualization of the IT and cloud environment, and be able to provide the agility to the operators so they can outpace their competitors in the marketplace.
And this is one of the reasons why you're working with the MEF and supporting its orchestration work.
That's right, because in terms of orchestration, we would look at it as being open. A key requirement is openness. We see that across the industry and working with our customers and the industry partners. And MEF provides us with that openness as well as the work we do with the other standards bodies and open source initiatives. Yes.
How have customer requirements changed over the past year or so, and where do you see things going?
So one of the major requirements we see from the customers almost across the board is the shift away from proprietary closed systems to open systems, to ecosystems where we can quickly plug together all the components of the environment to deliver the automated operations and virtualization infrastructure for the operators. As well as this, I think a really important factor is that in the first and early deployments, what we've seen is that OSS integration is a critical factor, the ability to integrate all of these pieces on a continuous basis, and the speed with which you can do that, and the pre-integration that you can achieve in an open collaborative environment. This is, I think, the successful point for the vendors, and Huawei is very focused on this point. We are very focused on optimizing the path and the way in which we can support our customers to quickly evolve their service offerings and infrastructure environment.
What do you think are going to be the challenges and opportunities in the move towards the MEF's third network vision?
So I think some of the challenges and just to go back on one of the points we were talking about there, I think one of the key things that we see going forward is that the ability to provide a very quick and rapid means to integrate all of the components and the standards and everything. So we see not just the products and technologies and the standards, but also the services and the vendors and suppliers who will be able to support those. Yes.
And you've already mentioned that open networking is very important to Huawei.
Yes, it's absolutely important. Now, open networking, both in the sense of standards, but also in open source, because we don't see the traditional standards bodies approach of long cycles to develop specifications as the way forward. What we see is the combined approach of an open source, agile and rapid capability with the specifications being tested quickly so that we realize what is wrong with the specification, what needs to be tweaked and what works. And we can do that in conjunction with the partners, and we can do it in a collaborative, consultative way with our partners and customers.
So how do you envision that these new technologies that the MEF is promoting here in Boston, LSO alongside SDN and NFV, how are they going to change the networking landscape?
Well, we actually see that they already are changing the landscape. So you see the early deployments, the sort of single service deployments within the operators. I would say that's been a major factor, but as well as that, the evaluations, deep evaluations and the proof of concepts. Okay. So then what follows from that is obviously now the focus is shifting to full-scale, large-scale production. We see some major big names in the industry already focused and committed multi-year, multi-phase projects for a rollout of the transformation to virtualization and orchestration. So this is already underway. So what will happen in the industry is that the early adopters will pull the guys behind them, all the other operators behind them. So other operators will then have to move. It's market dynamics, right? So market dynamics dictate that they will see things that work and they will adopt them for their own environment to gain their advantage and to maintain their position in the marketplace. So this is, and many service providers have not taken on board the transformation yet, but they're looking at it very closely. And what they will do is they will be able to adopt the business models and the business success and be able to create the business case for their investment in this. And that will also drive the vendors. The vendors will also better understand, and the suppliers, what the business case is and how to articulate the best business case for the operator so that they can achieve the agile operations and virtualized network infrastructure. And then going back to the point we had earlier, I think we have the benefit of the advancement of openness. So when these standards become more evolved, we will see more reasons to adopt them, more success. And also with the open source projects and the value of the open source projects, we will see the value and the benefit of the open source projects going forward.
Final question for you. I know you're supporting the MEF's industry event in Baltimore in November, the MEF 16 event. What will we see at that event? What are your expectations for that event?
So I think because of what we've seen in terms of the commitment to transformation, I think it's going to be a very exciting event, because with that comes a lot of new requirements, new focus, right? Okay, so on one side we talk about openness, okay? I still think we've got to figure out how to merge the open source initiatives with the open standards and really create that full life cycle from taking the initial concepts and converting them into something that can go into production systems for the operators. Secondly, I think we're seeing that as the focus is shifting from the early stage and single service deployments and experimentation in the industry, we see new problems. We see new problems for the industry, because to get to a production, large scale, reliable, robust system, you have to deal with things like reliability, security, scale, performance. Carriers make their business case on service level agreements. So service level agreements are really critical. How do we maintain, improve, enhance the service level that we offer to our customers for these rich services, these new digital service offerings? This is going to be critical for the operator, because it's a key differentiator from their OTT competitors. So this is what they need to, we will see in the industry. I think that's, and also I think a key point in area that is very important from my perspective is in the orchestration environment. But also, orchestration has typically focused around service design. How do we design a service quickly? How do we provision that service? How do we integrate the environment and the components that support that service? I see that going much further into adopting assurance capabilities, so full service lifecycle within the orchestrated environment. And even beyond that, and quickly beyond that, to looking at closed loop control. So where you achieve autonomic networking, autonomic cloud services, where you embody rules so that the network can adapt to changes in the environment, and it can quickly correct things or scale up, scale out, and do things like that. And this is where you get techniques, new software techniques and technologies like advanced machine learning capabilities and policy, which will enable the operator to really differentiate their service offerings and achieve that agile and dynamic service capability.
Fascinating. It's a future full of possibilities. For now though, Michael, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.